All right, so we're back with our next kind of subtopic of topic 2, where we are moving towards those rational inequalities, and we're going to start with quadratic. So pretty soon we're going to get to those that have more than just 2 zeros, but right now we just have these 2 zeros. But we need to kind of solidify our knowledge on compound inequalities. So those special math words and or, and means a solution has to satisfy both of them. And or means at least one of them. Okay, so or kind of means like either one or the other. And means they both have to be happening at the same time. So if I put this one on a number line, okay, I would have an open circle here and an open circle here. And I want x is greater than -5 and less than 3. And I want these things to be happening at the same time. So it's these two. And this can be written like this, with x in the middle. And this is where students have a really hard time. How did these symbols go? So I want you to think about this. Look at, oops, and I did less than or equal to. Silly me. So I'll do this. If I read this, this would be x less than 3, okay? And if I read this part, and I talked about this in the last video, I would read it backwards, x greater than -5. And doesn't that match here? And so these are always going to point to the right when you have compound inequalities, okay? They will point to the right, and you will put x in the middle, and you will put the small number here, and you will put the big number here, okay? And so I get worried about this, but when they look like this, we write it like this, okay? When it's an or statement, x is greater than, and this is -5. We cannot write it as a compound inequality statement like this, okay? We cannot put x in the middle and put something on both sides, okay? These are two separate statements. These are ors, so x is either less than -5, and I did less than or equal to again, or x is greater than 3, and we do not combine them into one statement like we did up here. Okay, these ands can be one statement, these ors cannot be. Okay, so we really need to make sure that we understand how that goes before we get moving on to these. So I know I didn't leave myself enough, oh I did, okay, I was worried I didn't leave myself enough room. All right, so factoring is what comes first as we move into these solving quadratic inequalities. So we are going to kind of take notice of this. Okay, less than 0 means where is my answer negative? Okay, so I'm going to factor first, and just like when we did these linear inequalities on the topic 2a video, I pretended that inequality sign was a 0 just for now. Okay, so how would I factor this? I would have x minus 3 and x plus 2. And again, I'm just pretending for now because I want my zeros out of this deal. So my zeros are -3 and +2. These are my zeros, my roots, my x-intercepts. Okay, those are things we've talked about already. And if I were just to graph this, if I were looking at it, this is a skill we can now do after Unit 2. I have a feeling my graph looks something like this. And if I was looking at a graph, wondering where is this graph negative, where are the x's negative, right? It would be down here. How do I make this whole thing, what x's do I plug in to make the answer less than 0? It's down here. So I hope that you kind of have a picture here. This is -2, this is +3, that it's probably going to be between these, but I don't want to graph it like this. I want to graph it on a number line. So the first thing that I'm going to do is graph this on a number line. Sorry, I'm going to list out my points, my zeros, and put them on a number line. Okay, so I'm going to put a closed circle here and a closed circle here, and I know it is a closed circle because of this. Okay, so step 1 is to list, maybe I should say plot zeros on number line. okay? And then I'm gonna kind of break this into pieces. And what do I mean break it into pieces? Look at something happens right here. And so these lines that I've just drawn, okay, kind of mirror that. I'm trying to mirror what I've done here. And then I'm going to list, oops, I wanted this one. I'm gonna list my factors again off to the side. So I want you to notice I've created three spaces, right? I've created a space of numbers that are kind of to the left of -2, that are in between -2 and 3, and kind of to the outside of -3. So when you list your factors, give yourself a little bit of space, something that we know that I'm bad at. So I'm going to list my factor, and the order doesn't matter. I'm just listing them here. And then I'm going to, maybe I'll use green. I'm going to think about what would happen if I picked a number in this space here. So in this space here are these numbers, x is less than or equal to -2. If I pick a number over here, I'm going to pick -3. And I want to know what happens. If I plug in -3 right here, I get -3 plus 2, and that is a negative factor. Okay? And then if I do it again to this x minus 3, -3 minus 3 is -6. Okay, that's just negative. So like, Miss Vogt, you're not putting anything important in. I'm putting the sign in because I could pick a different one. I could pick -7. That would be over here, somewhere over there. I can't see it, I didn't draw it. But I get the same answer, right? -7 plus 2 would be -5, -7 minus 3, -10. I get two negative numbers. Okay? I'm going to pick a number in this portion now, this category, and I'm going to pick 0. You guys know I love 0. So that makes it easy. 0 plus 2, well, that's 2. 2 is a positive number. Okay? And 0 minus 3 is -3. That's a negative number. This would hold true for any number I chose. Notice I do not choose on my dots. Don't choose on my dots. Okay? I could choose -1, 0, 1, 2, any of those, and I would still get positive and negative here. And then I'm going to choose a number outside here. Let's just say 4. Maybe you choose 10. Doesn't matter to me. 4 plus 2 is positive. 4 minus 3 is positive. All right, I made a really pretty chart. I've got blue and green and pink. What does it mean? Well, if I put -7 and I go think about up here, I'm going to go up here, and I had -10 times -5. I had a negative times a negative. I will get a positive. Okay, so step 3 was to decide on plus or minus. And then step 4 was to multiply. And that seems weird, because what are you multiplying? I'm multiplying a negative number times a negative number to get a positive number. Okay, what happens in the middle between the -2 and the 3? Well, I get a positive times a negative equals a negative. And then I have positive, positive. Well, positive times positive is positive. Okay? I need to go look at my problem again. What do I want? I want x's that are negative. Well, where did I find the negative? I found it right here, in between -2 and -3. And if I remember correctly, this looks a lot like my and statement up there at the beginning of this. So what is my answer? This is not my answer. This is all the work I did to find my answer. My actual answer is that x's are going to be between -2 and +3. This is that and statement. They are at -2, x's are greater than them, and at the same time, they are also less than 3. And any of them between -2 and +3 will give me an answer that is less than or equal to 0. I'm going to do it again. I know it's confusing. I'll try to do the same steps. Okay. Oh, you didn't misvote. I did. Ugh. What happens when it's this? Well, you either need to use the AC method or quadratic formula. So remember, AC method. And you thought that we were done with this stuff. Okay. All right, so I'm going to see what I can do. AC method. So 2 times 3 equals 6, and factors of 6 that add to -7. So I'm going to say 2x squared minus x minus 6x plus 3. Remember, for now, I'm treating it as a equal sign. I'm not too worried about that. I can factor a 2x and I get x minus, nope, I can't factor a 2x. Whoops, just a 1x. I can factor out an x. I'm left with 2x minus 1. I can factor out a 3, a negative 3, and I'm left with 2x minus 1. And then my factors, remember, I'm just pretending for now it's a 0. My factors, my zeros are these. Okay, so if I think back to that last example, the first step was to find the zeros and to place them on a number line. Okay, so zeros on number line. All right. So it looks like 1/2 would be here. Oh, look at this one's an open circle. And greater than means we want positive answers, greater than 0. And then 3. Okay, so I've got my 2 spots on here. And then I'm going to draw those lines down and give myself some space to kind of make my chart. And then I need to list my factors. So my factors were x minus 3 and 2x minus 1. And then I'm again dividing this into 3 portions. Okay, so portion 1 here is outside of 1. It's to the left. Numbers like 0, -1, -2. In between here, okay, this is my second section. This is my third section. Numbers like 4, 5, 6. So if I pick a number over here, I'm going to pick 0. I love 0. It's a great number. 0 minus 3 is negative. And 2 times 0 is 0. Minus 1 is negative. All right, section 2, I'm going to pick a number between 1/2 and 3. Let's pick 1 or 2. You choose. I'm going to choose 1. 1 minus 3 is negative. 2 times 1 is 2. Minus 1 is positive 1, so I'm going to get positive here. Okay, and then outside here, choose 4, choose 10, choose 1,000. Pick a number on the outside, section 3 here. 4 minus 3 is positive. 2 times 4 is 8. Minus 1 is 7, also positive. Okay, let's think back up here. I am looking for numbers where it is positive. Well, oops, I didn't finish my last part. Negative times negative is positive. Positive times negative is negative. Plus plus is a plus. Okay, list factors. Then what was it? Decide. Plus or minus, and then multiply. Okay, so what have I got? I want to know where it's positive. That's here, and that's here. And this one looks a whole lot like that or. This one is an or. Okay, so I cannot write them as one statement. I have 2 statements. I am using that. Look, it goes this way. That's less than. X less than 1/2. Okay, or I'm just going to put a comma, is fine too. X greater than 3, because I moved this way on my number line. All right, those are my examples for quadratic inequalities. Make sure you're asking questions, guys. This is tough stuff.